And the reason I was talking to Dave Cole was up in Sheffield. Ryan Rhodes has decided after 17 years and 52 fights to call it a day and retire. Ryan was part of the glorious Sheffield days when Nassim Hamed and Johnny Nelson completed a triangle of brilliance that dominated British boxing in the late 90s and early part of the last decade. He came close to winning a real world title against a real champion when he narrowly lost a WBO middleweight fight against Otis Grant in 1997. Ryan was just 21 years and about 20 days old. He won the British title for the first time in 1997 and for the last time in 2008. Great fight, too many to list. It's a delight and a pleasure to welcome back to the show Ryan Rhodes. Good evening, Ryan.
Good evening, Steve. Thanks for having me.
No, listen, it's my pleasure. You're in the middle of some mad Paralympic stuff because we've got that 100 metres coming up in a moment. Which is
brilliant,
we know with the Blade Runner and the fastest guy in the world is the young British kid. It's crazy stuff. Ryan, you know what? I don't know if I've got enough time on this show or 2 or 3 or 6 hours to ask you what are your best memories. But it seems so long ago, Ryan, that when you first turned pro back in whenever it was, back in about 1995, it just seems like forever ago. When you watch films of those early fights, do you have to pinch yourself to remind yourself that was you in the ring?
Absolutely, Steve. Yeah, and you have to watch me in black and white. They're that old as well, Steve.
You have to wind up the TV.
It's always good to look back on the old videos, and I've over the last few days I've been looking at some footage when I've been doing some interviews and things like that of the old days, and it just brings back so many good memories.
I bet it does.
Which will carry me forever.
Yeah, and you know what? They were some glory days. I mentioned Naz and I mentioned Johnny Nelson, but there were a lot of other guys attached to and involved with Brendan Ingles' gym. And I think it's too easy for people to forget that as big as Naz was and as big as Johnny was, there were you also topped big bills that got on ITV, big bills that got on Sky, and you had that fantastic moniker, Spice Boy.
Yeah. Back in the day, I had a bit of hair back then when I had that name as well, Steve. But it's not so much hair now that's gone. So, but yeah, I mean, it was absolutely fantastic memories back then. I mean, like you've just mentioned, Johnny and Naz. There was obviously Clifton Mitchell, Kevin Adamson, John Thaxton back in them days. It was a fantastic. We had the gym. That was the main gym around England with the champions. So it was a good era of boxing back then. And
it was full, and there was, as you say, there was things happening. What if I had to ask you for a highlight? What would it have been?
Out of my career, Steve, there's been so many highlights in my career, but I think if you have to, if I had to pick one, it'd be the Jamie Moore fight, the European title fight. Yeah. We was friends before, we fought each other, and we became even better friends. Oh. I was a massive underdog in that fight, and obviously I came through and I won it with flying colours. So if I had to pick a glory part of my career, it'd be that one.
All right, now listen, Ryan, I'm going to leave it there, but what I've spoken to Dave Caldwell, I was mentioning to Curtis there, you're going to come down and we're going to do a proper session on the Box Nation sofa, go through the fights, do a nice half an hour. How's that sound? Is that okay, Ryan?
Perfect, no problem.
Brilliant, absolutely. Ryan Rhodes, who's finally retired after 52 fights, 17 years, top of his weight in this country.